Hi folks, welcome back. Thank you very much for joining me once again. You are always most welcome. Well, today, long time no see, a Wingnut Wings kit. One we haven't actually done before. Now we have done an Albatross. This is the Albatross D.V. Now we have done an Albatross D.V. I did the Red Barons version. This is the standard version of the kit. This is kit number 32009, and I thought we'd take a look at it. So many of you may know that some of the people who worked at Wingnut Wings, by the way, have actually now formed Qatari models in New Zealand. So maybe we'll get, something similar to the Wingnut Wings quality in the not too distant future. Fingers crossed. But in the meantime, time for some nostalgia, looking back at probably the greatest model kits ever to grace the shelves of your local model shop. Sadly, albeit for not that long. Anyway, let's zoom you in and talk about the Albatross. So it says, I'm going to read it. Even as the excellent Albatross D3 went into production in late 1916, plans were underway for its successor, the Albatross D.V, D5. Retaining the wings of the D3, but with the aileron controls routed through the upper wing and with a redesigned fuselage completely oval in section. Making it strong, of course, very strong. The D.V, or D5, arguably the best looking of all the Albatross aircraft. The Albatross D5, along with the slightly redesigned D.V.A, was manufactured in greater numbers than any previous German fighter of the First World War. Only later surpassed by the Fokker D.V D8, of which Albatross manufactured the great majority of those too. Appearing in May 1917 and shortly outclassed by the improved SE-5A, the Sopwith Camel and the Spad fighters being fielded by the Allies at that time, in the hands of a talented pilot, the Albatross D5 and D5A were more than capable of holding their own. Flown by most of Germany's top aces of the time, the D5s continued to provide good service even when outclassed by the new Fokker DR1. Pfalz D3 and the 3A fighters. Albatross D5s could still be found equipping the frontline Jasters right up to the armistice in 1918, though most had been relegated back to training duties. Okay, I'll show you a quick zoom in of the illustrations and the different options you have on the side, and they are Edward von Ritter? Edward Ritter von Scheleich, Jaster 21. Then we've got Otto Hugenmuller of MFJ Jaster 1. Otto Kesenberth, Jaster 16B. Fritz Rumney, Jaster 5. And Ernest Udet. It's quite a famous one, isn't he? Jaster 37. Okay, then. So, now, I'm wearing the black gloves, again with damn good reason. This is a very rare kit. These have changed hands for 300 quid, these days. So we won't be having any bags, I'm afraid. It's just the way it is. They are very, very collectible and valuable. So, just so people know in advance. I'll try and do my best to show you what I can. See what they've got. Can't beat Wingnut Wings. You just can't. So, again, I won't be opening the bags for the decals either, but I will show you those first. The decals we'll start with and a little bit of Photoetch. Check this out. Here's the nice Wingnut Wings Photoetch, including the cooling jacket that goes around the Spandau machine guns, which is pretty cool. You've got your seat belts and a little bit of bracing, I think. And you've also got the gun sights here for the Spandau guns, if you can see those. Look at that, that's cool. Very nice. On the other side we have got these decals, and there's some mighty ones and there's a couple of additional ones that they must have missed. Correction sheet, oh, unlike Wingnut Wings, still need a correction sheet, okay. Some lovely big German crosses. Yeah, I'm sure that they're going to be Absolutely great. They're actually printed, all these are printed by our friends in Italy, Cartograph, so you know that they're going to be good. See that? Cartograph, Italy. Fantastic. Good start, a very good start. Now then, part of the fun of Wingnut Wings, I think, is these wonderful instructions that frankly are unsurpassed. Yet to be beaten. I won't read out the whole of the... it gives a quite a long history, so I'm not going to read all of it out, but suffice it to say that this is one of the most popular aircraft of World War One. Very successful aeroplane. And a good looking one as well. Some of the World War One aircraft are just horrible to look at. This is not one of them. They've got a pretty looking plane, isn't it? Beautiful, with this oval section fuselage. Almost like a fish, it looks like. So, when we open it up, typical Wingnut Wings, we get a little bit of a sprue map. One or two items that are not used in this particular edition. And then we get straight into it. And immediately we're going to build up our oval section fuselage. Which, as I say, does look awfully like a fish. It's like a sardine, isn't it, the shape? And you're building up your main sort of seat area, pilot seat, and the supporting the ribs and the sections, bulkheads around it, all in wood, of course, on the real aircraft. And then you've got your Spandau gun points. And again, this is what annoys me now. Now we've lost the poor old Wingnut Wings. Look at this. It tells you what these things are. Harness buckles. Yeah. Spandau gun mounts. It's telling you. It's a learning process, an educational process. Being taught about the aircraft as we actually go through it. You don't get that with the Chinese manufacturers like Border, do you? Not just them either. Great Wall Hobby, just as bad. It's just, there's nothing, you know. Cockpit continued. So, barograph optional. What's a barograph? Show my ignorance there. Is that the weather meter? Like a barometer? I presume it is. And then you've got the fuel tank there. You know, it's all obvious, it's made clear. Rigging diagrams. Then you've got some lovely photos here showing the real aircraft. Cockpit details from an early Albatross D.V of the JAS 31. The pilot's goggles dangle from the all-important tachometer. His goggles dangle from the tachometer. Trying to make this out with my mediocre glasses. Okay, yeah. Attached to the centre of the LNG 08/18 mount with an altimeter to the left and clock to the right. There are many interesting details shown in these two photos. The headrest, aileron control cables, mirror attached to the aileron pulley inspection panel. On the upper wing, the barograph suspended below the instrument board just to the right of the control column, and the flare gun attached to the right of the cockpit. Flare gun. Okay. Interesting stuff. I love the way they do this. And then we've got some lovely illustrations. Look at the colours here. This is what's so nice about Wingnut Wings. They show you the colours. You know what it should look like. It's brilliant. Interior painting guy. Look at that. Hey, eat your heart out, Matchbox. I thought they were good. Anyway, that looks like... oh, it's Carl. No, I thought it was Goring. It's Carl Schattauer. Carefully how you pronounce that. Poses in front of his Albatross D.V, most likely documenting a recent lucky escape. Two small cockade bullet hole patches have been applied to the fuselage. Oh, one's right through his cross, of course. Dead centre in the middle of the cross. Look at that. It's like a bullseye. Can you see that? Let's take you in for a closer look at this. That's impressive. Some British, American or French pilot has done the business here. Look at that. See? Bullseye right in the middle. My word. And there's another one at the top. Large repair patches have applied to the upper wing. Taken a few hits then. The flare rack attached to the right side of the cockpit, just behind his shoulder there. Wow. The Daimler. Photo was taken some time after Carl was posted to JAS 16B on the 26th of September 1917. This interesting colour scheme will be available from Wingnut Wings shortly. Okay, well I don't think that's going to happen, but anyway. Then we've got some lovely photos of one that's in the museum here. Look at these, aren't they nice? Showing things like the windscreen, and we've got engine mounts, back of the seat, fuel line, water pump pressurising the fuel tank, the little pump here. Wow, that's very impressive. Very impressive. Nice photos. And then you're building up your usual Daimler-Benz D3 engine here, 160 PS, 6-cylinder. Photos of them in the factory or under maintenance here. Showing all the multi-cylinders. And then, yeah, installed in the aircraft, showing the small air pump piping details here. Over here, top of the engine, the brace from the exhaust to the radiator water pipe, showing the detailed shot of Klaus von Vado Jasta 15 aircraft. Okay. And some beautiful pictures of the engines and variation on the small ring sight here for the guns. Unusual camouflage scheme. Daimler-Benz engine being built up here, kind of very similar to the others that we've seen. And then showing one in restoration. You see how lovely and clean it looks, and being restored up there. Oops. Building up the support ribs, the engine bearer ribs for the actual engine to go in the front. It's a very neat design. It's very aerodynamic. It's almost, like Formula One in the modern era. The way they've packaged it in together is very neat, isn't it? It's very tightly packaged. Very impressive. A bit more cockpit with the control knob. And here we've got the Spandau machine guns going together, where you're going to put this Photoetch. I think you get two options here. You get an option where you've got the Photoetch that we saw, or you actually get one that's completely moulded in plastic. But frankly, that's not going to be the same. So I would recommend to you, I think the owner of this would probably agree with me, I wouldn't use the plastic ones. I'm not sure I'd use the kit ones on this. I'd probably get a pair of Spandau machine guns from Gas Patch in Greece. They do beautiful resin and Photoetch guns. They're amazing. They've got to be seen. So have a look on the internet for Gas Patch and you get really nice ones. Anyway, moving on. You can see here you're building up the rear of the fuselage with the tailplane, and then the elevator that goes on the back. Again, very beautiful, elegant looking aerodynamics, isn't it? Tailplane showing Carl Schattauer's Albatross, diamond shaped reinforcing plate. Diamond shaped reinforcing plate on the fuselage in front of the tailplane. Can't quite make that out actually. Maybe I need both the glasses on. Grain, you see the plywood grain in the panels it's saying. Look at that. Oh, beautiful. So nice, these Wingnut Wings instructions, it's a whole learning process. It's almost like a historical restoration guide. It's fantastic. Then you've got your different windscreens here. This is quite interesting. So I think it's depending on which pilot. Some pilots like a tiny windscreen because they don't want to have the view obscured. Others want to have protection from the wind, maybe bullet protection too, not much. And then you've got your flare racks going on the side. This is when they would have the flares to signal where the enemy were. And then some more fantastic, really detailed photographs here. Max Karlhaus sitting in the cockpit of his Jasta 34 Albatross D.V. Note the flare rack. And it has a windshield. And he's got a windshield with a peephole in it. Can you see that? Just whoops, just here. Little tiny cutout in it. For sighting. Oh, for sighting the guns. Okay. And then we've got the wings going on over here. Whoops. Wings coming on over here. Just the thing of beauty of these. I mean, you know, I can't imagine anybody would throw away their Wingnut Wings instructions when they built the kit. I put it straight in my book library, you know, every time. And then we've got the radiator, which goes on the top. Unusual design again. The radiator goes on top of the top wing. Very cleverly, again, very nicely packaged, very advanced. It's time. Ailerons going on. Aerial control horns, which go on the top of the actual wing surface. Attaching your upper wings over here. Undercarriage going on. Very simple undercarriage, a bit like, not unlike the Sopwith Camel, really. And sorry, it's just showing there the radiator pipe. We'll zoom that in. The radiator pipe as it goes up out of the engine and into that radiator that sits on top of the wing. Can you see that? Position of the radiator pipe. And then we have got a choice of propellers. Spinners here, different spinners. Anemometer, which is the wind speed indicator, of course. And then you've really almost completed your kit here in terms of the final assembly of the plastic parts. So about the manufacturer's data plates attached to the side of the fuselage. Wow. And it's such a neat looking design, isn't it, with this flushed in spinner. Much more like a World War II aircraft, you know, in that respect. Then we've got, oh, be afraid. Be very afraid. This is rigging. I have nightmares about things like this. Wake up in a sweat. Imagine I've got the rigging all wrong, got glue all over the airplane at the end. Which is pretty easy to do, I think, to be honest. And then we've got the paint guide. So we've got our Eduard Ritter von Schleich. That's the Jaster 21 we talked about on the cover of the box. And then we have got Ottomar Hagenmuller's plane. Interesting camo on that. There are a very interesting range of camos on these aircraft. Yeah. Otto Kisserberth, which got this. He's got this like an Edelweiss on the side. Large Edelweiss painted on a black fuselage. Look at that. That's nice. There's the photo of the actual aircraft. Look. Fritz Rumi, or Rumi, and he's got diagonal black stripes, black and white stripes, chevrons, very unusual. And then we've got like a white one, Ernst Udet. Wasn't there an Udet in World War II that was a famous ace as well? Is that a relation of his? It's not him, is it? Is it his son, perhaps? But there they are, standing. Look at the lovely design. That spinner can be seen, you know, for all it's worth there. An unidentified pilot here, wrapped up in protection from the elements, prepares for a flight in an early D5. Note the headrest placement and the flare pistol and the dark appearance of the varnished wooden fuselage. All the metal fittings remain. Look at that, you can see even down to the wood grain in the fuselage. Amazing. And then we've got lots of more historical photos at the back here. Informal photo opportunity for airmen chatting at the field. Well camouflaged Jaster 37 Albatross here, very unusual looking thing. Must look like it's got fur on it. Very strange. And then Alvin Thurm's Jaster 31 Albatross, which has a reptilian camouflage scheme, looking like a snake. How odd. They seem to be allowed to do all sorts of things. There's no regulation there. Not like the British Air Ministry later, or, you know, same with the Reich in Germany in World War II. You couldn't have that license to create your own design. It was almost like, you know, flying circus material, wasn't it? That's what we know that's the way it was. Right, let's have a quick look at these then, because I say I can't open the bags. But we'll have a quick nosy. We've got a fairly generic sprue here, which is the Daimler engine. But these are beautiful, you know, they have to be seen up close to really be believed. You've got all these beautiful fine details in the prop, two options on the prop, and then you've got a lovely 6-cylinder engine with all of its, look at the way these are moulded is flash free, it's very, very beautiful, absolutely gorgeous to be honest. That's that one. Then we've got the lovely, I can zoom out of this, the lovely fuselage, this sort of sardine shaped fuselage that it has. And we've got the lovely back plate here, and then ultimately we've got the actual spinner. I've been talking about the very aerodynamic smooth spinner here. Look at that. Yeah, this is where my lovely lights, which give my give my videos a very sharp look, along with the camera. This is when they count against me a little bit because it's so very, very bright, of course. So that is that in there. Then we've got 2 identical sprues, so we only need to look at one of them, and they have got the wheels and the Spandau machine guns on it. So here's what I was talking about with the Spandau machine guns. There are 2 options. You can use the Photoetch and wrap it around the bottom one as you see them here. Wrap the Photoetch, which is not easy, in a tube, around the actual gun barrel. Or you can use the plastic one. Now I don't think it's nice, but it's not really good enough. And as I said, as I was reading the instructions, I would be tempted to go to gas patch and get yourself one that's already formed. They produce them with the cooling jacket already done for you in metal. They do resin versions and they do metal versions as well, I think. But they're very, very beautiful. Those gas patch guns are excellent. That's that one. Then we've got this big old sprue here, which has got all those bulkheads and support members for the fuselage, for the sardine fuselage, shall we call it. Here they are. And those are the engine bearers that support the engine. So that way up. Yeah. There we go. Going wider and wider. And then you've got your vane bulkheads. You've got your struts here to support between the top and bottom wing. And then you've got your exhaust manifold here. And ailerons over here. And then we've got all sorts of beautiful little parts here. You've got your seat for the pilot there. Very nice indeed. Some clear parts. We've got these 3 different screen options that we spoke of, and one of them, if you remember, had a little bit cut out of it, which isn't represented here because I think it was unique to that pilot. But be careful if you go. Be careful if you go trying to replicate that and cutting out clear parts with a drill. Probably best to put some tape on it first so it doesn't start to crack. But those are beautiful, aren't they? 3 different types of windscreen. Absolutely fantastic. And then last but not least, the wings. And here they are. It's the top wing. Top wing with all the lovely ribbing detail. Something that Wingnut wings do so beautifully, don't they? Or did do, I should say. Sadly they're no longer with us. This is why we all love these kits so much. Even if you're not a big fan of World War One, I'm not World War One aircraft's biggest fan. But there is just literally, when you see plastic kits manufactured in such a high precision and quality way, there's literally nothing not to like here. Let's look at the underneath of these wings. Yeah, absolutely stunning. All red, lots of detail. This is where your strange little radiator is going to go. It comes through there and it sits on the top actually there. right on top. Well, I think it's very nice to see another Wingnut Wings kit, a different version of an Albatross in this case that we haven't seen before. In terms of my verdict on it, I think you all know that there is an inevitability. What was it? Hugo Drax said in Moonraker, he said Mr. Bond turns up with the inevitability of an unloved season. Me giving Wingnut Wings kits 10 out of 10 has the same inevitability about it. Because there's nothing in there you can criticise at all. Where do you begin to criticise? What can you find wrong with it? Nothing. Nothing. Perfect instructions, perfect plastic, moulding is perfect. Support information is beyond your dreams, really. If only other kits were made like this, you know. It would be nice, wouldn't it, if somebody else would... well, I say, Qatari are, on the face of it, doing it in a similar way, but are they? We'll see. We'll see. I don't want to judge Qatari yet. But I was a bit concerned. I actually had a pre-ordering with Qatari which cancelled. A, because it was taking too long. B, because I had paid over the odds. Way over. Almost double price. Because I chose to buy the day they announced their Spitfire Mark 1A. Is it Mark 1 Mid, they call it? And I chose the day after the UK then Prime Minister, shortest we've ever had, I just announced the budget and interest rates went up and the pound dropped and the exchange rate was just catastrophic, and I should have just waited, you know. So it wasn't Qatari's fault, not at all. That was a British-made problem. But anyway, I decided to pull out of that deal and just wait. But it's just the fact that this Qatari Spitfire doesn't have an engine. I'm a bit disappointed about that. I've seen the plastic of it and it looks very, very good. But we will judge that in due course. In the meantime, thank you very much to the person who kindly loaned me this. I've been very careful with it as always. And it's 10 out of 10 from me. Hope you'll also give me 10 out of 10 with a like, a thumbs up. And don't forget, if you're a subscriber, to ding the notification bell to get early warning of the next content that I upload. And if you're not a subscriber, why not? Get subscribing. But anyway, there we go. That's it for now. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you found that was interesting. Nice to see another beautiful tactile kit like that. It's such a shame that we can't get more of those. But what happened to the container of them that's supposed to be coming to each country? I've never heard any more about that. They just seem to have vanished. One was going to America, one was supposed to be coming to the UK. Don't know. I don't know. Somebody's probably hoarding the precious container. It's not me though. Or is it? If only. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Thanks a lot. And bye for now.